Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Semley Village in Dorset County in the United Kingdom. Today, my wife and I are here. We're visiting our really good friends, the Scott-Massons, Gus and Tracey. We are going to sit down with Gus and talk to him about why they decided to retire here after 34 years of British military service. I recently made a video where I talked about the reasons why my wife and I decided to retire to Thailand. So we'll get Gus's perspective from the UK side. We'll also talk to him a little bit about what it costs to live here, you know, just utilities, housing, gas, groceries, etc. And then we're going to show you around a few sites here in Dorset County. Some of them are quite famous. One was in the movie Pride and Prejudice and a couple other movies. Another one was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner. So you might recognize those. And then we'll end it with giving you a tour of the Bennett Arms, which is a pub that's been here in Semley Village since 1865. And we'll do a quick Q&A session with the owners, Denise and Deborah, who moved over from the United States and bought the pub, I believe just last year. So we'll do that. So please like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll get on to the interview with my good friend Gus. Good morning, everybody. I'm in Semley Village in England, and I'm sitting here with my good friend Gus Scott-Masson. We served together in NATO together, and we've both retired. Obviously, if you watch my videos, you know I retired and live in Thailand now. Gus went ahead and retired to the UK, and I've talked a lot about the cost of living in Thailand and how it's nice for retirement, so I thought we'd get Gus's perspective on the reasons why he went ahead and decided to retire back home. So, Gus, you want to tell people what's going on?
Yeah, well, so I did sort of 34 years in the British Army, as you know, and I lived abroad a lot. And then in the last 7 years, I was in Italy with you, right, in Naples, and then I went up to Rome, and then my last posting was in Istanbul for 2.5 years. So I lived abroad a lot. And so then came retirement, and then obviously the decision as where to live and what to do. We've lived here, so this is Semley on the Wiltshire-Dorset border in the southwest of England, so Bath's about 40 miles, 40 minutes north. Salisbury in the south coast is very close. So we live in a very beautiful part of England. And we've had a home here 17 years, although we rented it out a lot of the time because we were abroad. Sure. So the decision about what to do, and we loved Italy particularly, and we thought about, well, could we live there? But the other pull, of course, is we got children. Right. 6 between us. Yeah, and that was one of the things I brought up in my retirement video was, you know, being an expat is not for everybody, because if you have family, and especially grandchildren, and you want to be part of their lives, if you're living halfway across the world, it's really tough. Yeah. Yeah, it is. So, so you own this house for 17 years, and I know we're going to do a little home tour. Yeah, and show people it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's probably older than a century now, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's called Century Cottage because it's exactly 100 miles between here and Hyde Park Corner, London. Really? That's why it's called Century Cottage. It's 100 miles. Okay. But the house is probably over 100 years old. Yeah, older than that. Yeah. So we then decided to come back to England and to live here. And then I got a job working in independent school, and that was quite a shock, coming out of the military to working in the basically as an operational manager in an independent school. And it was challenging. I've just done that for 8 years, and so that was it's a very different life, and the things are cool. Yeah. So you were working full time, with your pension on top of it. Yeah. So it took the bite out of being retired and the cost of living here. Absolutely. So you have a military pension, which is quite generous, index linked, and you can live off it. I mean, I was got to a rank where it was okay, but then I've subsequently supplemented that with this job, which is quite a reasonably well-paid job, and built up another second pension. Sure. And then I've just retired from that.
And do you still have a mortgage on this home, or is it paid off?
So it's about to be paid off. We've got
Okay.
a second home down in Dorchester down south, which are just selling at the moment. And then when that, we'll clear the mortgage. So we'll be, as you get into retirement, you really want to be mortgage free. So.
Okay, so let's go ahead and continue with where we're at. So yeah, you were saying that you want to be mortgage free when you retire.
Yeah. We have another, I mean, it is expensive living in England. I mean, we're in the country, so it's not as bad as in London, but, you know, certainly, and we have another orientation, as you know, to Vietnam because of
Sure.
two of my stepchildren live out there.
Okay, you want to talk a little bit about the cost of living?
Yeah, so living in England is expensive. Certainly, both my children live in London, and one of my stepchildren. They both all have good jobs and earn good money, but it's tough. It's
Right.
it is tough, but much cheaper living out here in the country. But it is, England is expensive, but
So what's like as far as cost of living goes? What does gallon cost or gas cost for like a liter?
it's about £1.37 a litre at the moment.
Is that considered high or?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Okay.
It did about a couple of years ago go up to £1.50. So
Okay.
£1.37. Mind you, what's happening at the moment might change things
Right.
in the Middle East. But yeah, it's okay.
Okay, groceries.
Groceries, yeah, that's where you've got to shop around here. We have a Waitrose, which is a sort of the premier sort of supermarket here, but we have the Lidls and the Aldi, so you have to shop around. But groceries are expensive, yeah,
Okay.
it is. So you definitely.
Yeah, I'd imagine Waitrose is probably kind of like our Whole Foods in the U.S. Like it's more of a gourmet type of
it
higher
is.
end grocery store.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, and they target the likes of United when we
Right.
go there. So they have all the things for the dads who are just sort of idly cruising the aisles.
Yeah.
They
What
go
about
for-
utilities, electric?
Yeah, electric's
water?
reasonably expensive. Water's not too bad, but I would say on us here, we probably cost us about, I don't know, £1,000 a month to run this place. That's electricity.
For electricity?
No, electricity, water.
Oh, for all your
rates, council rates, so the whole thing, everything in
Okay.
about £1,000 a month, I'd say.
A little bit more than Thailand.
Yeah, for sure.
Our electric
And
bill
you-
is about $300 a month, and that's considered really expensive. But we run the ACs like 24/7.
Our electricity here is about 150 a month, but we got that. You'll see later on, we've got this Everhot, which is
Right.
always hot.
Yeah.
A stove, which chews up, better
Right.
part.
All right. And then you want to tell us a little bit about what we're going to see today?
So today, there's lots to see around here. So we're going to go to a place called Stourhead, which is some quite a famous gardens, a big lake with a Palladian bridge at one point and some sort of mock temples around and beautiful thing. It's designed by Capability Brown, who's a 17th century well-known garden designer. And you might recognise it when you as soon as you get there, when you look, because a lot of films are shot there, Pride and Prejudice and that sort of thing. So we'll see those gardens, then we'll go to the inevitable pub, the very good pub, the Spread Eagle.
You know, I
that.
like my historic pubs.
Yes, you do. and what's interesting there at that pub, in the glass, David Niven used to live near here, I think, and I'm not sure, I think it's David Niven and I think Errol Flynn. You came to see him anywhere. They've engraved their initials in the glass of one of the panes.
Oh wow! Yeah, we'll definitely show the viewers that.
And
Aren't there other famous people that live around here? Didn't you say Guy Ritchie lives?
he lives up at the top, Compton House Airfield off the back, the Cranbourne estate up there. So Guy Ritchie lives around here. We have quite a few. We have James May from Top Gear. He lives in the next door village.
Oh.
There's a few, one or two around. And then we'll go to another pub tonight.
Excellent.
The Compasses, which is an old 16th century sort of pub. But on the way there, we're going to go to Wardour Castle,
Okay.
which was during the Civil War in England. It was a siege. It was very much a royalist area here, and the parliamentarians under Cromwell put Wardour Castle under siege. And so it's pretty much in ruins. It was also used for one of the scenes in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner.
Cool.
So we'll see that.
That sounds
we
good.
we have the lovely Georgian city, which I mentioned before, Bath.
Yeah.
It was a lovely place to go and see, but we went to see it last time you came here,
Right.
and so we're sort of running out of time.
Yeah, this is a short trip. We probably should have baked in an extra day or two, but We all have our lives to go do.
We do.
So, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to the next part of the video.
Good.
All right. Welcome, everybody. So my buddy Gus has been kind enough to let us shoot his house, Century Cottage, which I now learned is Century for the distance between his house and what is
Hyde Park Corner.
There you go.
There we go.
All right. So you want to lead us in?
Hi, Tim. Yeah, come in at our humble abode. So, here's I've got a little baby grand piano. I started passing interest in playing the piano, and it's the only place we can fit it. Just to squeeze it under the stairs there. Otherwise, there's no room for even a baby grand here. And then here, this is my, well, call it study, man cave. This is very important in a house to have your own space, and this is my space. So I have all my sort of family stuff and whatever.
Lots of books.
A lot of books, and I've actually read some of them. One or two, yeah, a lot of books.
Then you got the TV.
Yeah, TV. Yeah. So this is, I can sit at my desk there and watch cricket, sport,
Nice.
anything I want to do. So I don't get any work done because I'm watching cricket a lot of the time. This quite interesting. This painting here I just found up here. It's a P&O. My father was the captain in the P&O, the Merchant Navy, and a yellow funnel, you know, is a P&O ship. And I found this in an antique shop in Shaftesbury about a couple of months ago.
Nice.
And I asked my mother, I said, did my father ever serve on the Stratford Avon? And she said, oh yes, he was on that ship when you were born. So I had to buy it.
Nice. What's the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon thing back here?
That's a poster given to me by my son, I think. I like Pink Floyd. So that's
I like your booze collection too.
Yeah, there's a lot of that's hidden. And we come through here. This is quite an interesting, you might need to go in here and then close the door, but this, I'd like to claim credit for this, but I can't. So this is the downstairs low, and it's wall to ceiling shells done by the person I bought the house from, and she was a German artist.
Wow.
And so it's quite impressive. It's like a sort of grotto. If you look at the ceiling as well, it's sort of, it's really.
That's a lot of shells.
There's a lot of shells. It is fantastic.
All right, well, back out of here.
And then we come into the kitchen. We opened all this up. This is used to be closed off, so we've opened. While we were abroad, we had it all opened up.
That's quite an impressive stove and oven.
Yeah, this is an Everhot. It's similar to what people might know as an Aga, but it's permanently on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's electric, and it's brilliant. This thing, it's actually fantastic.
Does it run your electric bill up?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. This is might be of interest. So I sort of found this. So my father again was captain of the Canberra, which is a P&O cruise ship. Took this to the Falklands War, but I found this on eBay quite recently, and this was the model, the tank model that Harland and Wolff in Belfast used to design the ship. So in the 1950s, they put this in. There's motors inside here and all sorts of things.
Wow.
And they use this to try. I think they even put little pellets in here to get the smoke, see if it fall on the swimming pool decks at the back. So it's quite a thing. So I found it on eBay anyway. So I thought I'd better have that.
That's awesome. And you have look at this view out to the garden. Spectacular. It helps that it's a rare sunny day in old Blighty, but
They've had a very good summer so far. We've had really good weather. But it's not always like that.
You got some seating area in here, very comfortable and cozy. Then this is your main living room?
Yeah, main living room, yeah. So we tend to, so they've got a open fire in my study, so the winter we sit in there in the evenings, summer we sit in here or outside.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So should we show folks your portrait?
Oh God.
So you can see a very nice nice portrait of Mr. Scott-Masson right there. Okay, so tell me a little bit about the portrait, Gus.
Yeah, the portrait. So it's not a vanity project. This was family commission for my 60th. The stipulation I wanted in front of a piano, and they wanted a whiskey glass in there at some point. And this was done by someone called Rosanna Chittenden, who's a local portrait artist who's fantastic. Contributions so far have been probably, you paid for that key. Then I had a rather nice stock which I managed to sell, which paid for about that much. Then my wife Tracy, she gave me a little present selling of that much, and then the rest is still out there somewhere.
All right, I understand you've got another piece of art in the other room. That's
Yeah. So
a story behind it.
yeah, this is. Oh, sorry. So this is Plymouth. This is the Victualling Yard, which was built by the Napoleonic prisoners in the early 1800s, and this is Plymouth Sound is over to the left, and this is the Tamar estuary up here. But this is a painting, a copy of a painting, which we had copied because in the painting, this house here was our family home, and
Wow.
so that that was it. This has now all been built on. The house is obviously still there. Sadly, we had to sell it, but and the drive, but this has all been built up. But that is very much our house in Plymouth.
Very cool.
That was
Awesome. Missed the church bells, but
So Shaftesbury's one of the original Burr towns. So the Vikings were raping and pillaging through the West Country and all of England, for that matter, for about 400 years. And then Alfred came to the throne and thought, hang on, well, not the throne. He came to the throne of Wessex, the western part of England, and thought, we've got to stop this. This is ridiculous. So he built a series of what they call burrs, fortresses, and this was one of the famous ones here at Shaftesbury on the edge of this spur here. Another one in Wareham and Langport. And from then on, they managed to start curbing the intrusions of the Vikings, because they could, in their narrow boats, they could come right up the rivers, right into the centre of the town.
Awesome.
So they, anyway, that's
awesome.
That's what
Yeah,
this was.
Talk if you know anything about this place.
This is the start of Gold Hill, the famous Gold Hill, famous here for an advert for bread that was done in the 1970s. It was known as the Hovis advert, and this is the hill that it was all filmed. And we've also on the right here, Timmy, we got the
Oh yeah, I think I saw this on
old Abbey. This is the old Abbey walls that I was showing you there. That's still the original 14th century walls of the old Abbey. Anyway, this is Gold Hill, the famous.
I've seen this in YouTube videos.
Yeah, it's everyone thinks it's Yorkshire because the advert was a Yorkshireman delivering bread, but it's not. It's in Dorset.
Yeah.
And we're going to go down it. And fortunately, we've got to come back up it as well. Yeah, these are the original reinforced walls from the Abbey that was destroyed in the disillusionment of the monasteries in the 1500s by King Henry VIII.
Spectacular.
Yeah, look at the buttresses, the reinforced walls. There's a very good stellar pub down the bottom here.
There better be.
How they built the houses, because obviously they've got to level them off on the steep hill. The original cobbles here.
Bet you this is fun when it snows.
Yeah. We get another tobogganing down there.
It would be a good place to sled down.
Oh, look, there's the Titanic. What on earth that's doing there?
Oh yeah.
It's still part of the
Boy, the image stabilization is going to have to do its work today. And that's not just because I had a couple pints.
And that's looking back up too. Look that back up there.
I can't film Sue, so I can film Tracy. That's spectacular.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Good evening.
Hi guys, you all right? I was going to mention shorts, but then he looked a bit hard, so I thought I might end up wearing those things. So the next pub's just coming just over the bottom here.
Ah. You know, I was like finding my next pub.
We're never far from a pub here.
God, I think I could live in this town.
Yeah, it's good. Some lovely houses. It's on the right, down here to the right. Yeah.
And there's your Gold Hill sign.
Well, you can go left on and we'll see you at the Three Brewers later. It's here.
Yeah. I might be still in. I'm doing a quiz tonight.
It's a beautiful view out there. You enjoy.
That's an old coaching inn, that one on the left there. Where the old coaches used to go in, that just there.
You want to tell us a little
Well,
bit
this is, yeah, I mean, this, as I said, I think earlier that this is, these were gardens, and mainly the lake, it's all centred around the lake, designed by Capability Brown, who was a garden designer in the 17th century, I think. So yeah, this is the famous Stourhead Gardens. We're going to go around the corner here, the lake goes around and on up there. And at various points of the year, it's very popular, like in the spring when the rhododendrons are out. You get lots of people just coming just for that, to see the reflection in the water. And then I was saying earlier, we came here many years ago, and that folly up there,
Shoot up
there
there.
were screens and lights all around it, and somebody with a fan and water spraying and everything. And I then watched Pride and Prejudice, and it was one of the.
So Gus, what's the significance of this?
Well,
right
up the valley here, around the corner, is a thing called Peter's Pump, and it's a little folly in the middle of the field around there. And at that point where Peter's Pump is where the three counties meet: Somerset, Devon, Somerset, Dorset, and Wiltshire all meet at that point.
So we are in the town of Semley in England at the Bennett Arms. And we're gonna go into the pub and get a drink. Yeah, like a lager would be good.
Just a little bit of lime in there, yeah?
Yeah.
I overdid it last time. I'm really upset somebody.
Hi everybody, I am sitting with the owners of the Bennett Arms. Somebody told me inside, the Bennett Arms. They didn't understand what I said, but anyways, Denise and Deborah, they're delightful people, and we're gonna just talk to them briefly about a little bit about the history of the arms and how they came to own it. So, okay, so good evening.
Hi.
So we have Denise on your right, Deborah, wave. So tell us a little bit about the history of the Bennett Arms and, you know.
So the building was built in 1604 and it became a pub sometime in the 17th century and has been a pub ever since. It was owned originally by the Bennett family, who were very big in this area, and there's a ton of history about them and very many stories. And yeah, it's a great local village pub.
So how did you guys come to acquiring the Bennett Arms?
Well, we've been talking about finding an investment here in England for a number of years and moving here with the ultimate aim of being binational, but spending a good chunk of time here. And we were looking at bed and breakfasts down in Weymouth.
Okay.
And what we discovered is those are all Georgian buildings. It's very tall, thin staircases.
Sure.
And we couldn't do it. There's just no way. But the person who was showing us sorry. The
No
person
problem.
who was showing us those properties, and he's in the pub right now actually, knew that this pub was very quietly for sale. So he suggested we come up here and meet the owner. We walked in the door, we were blown away, we fell in love, and Defying Gravity was playing on the radio, which is one of her all-time songs, and it's a great anthem for just doing it. And we just knew it was right. It felt like home.
You know, the first time I was in the Bennett Arms was probably 10, 12 years ago. And I'd been out, my friend Gus over there invited me to come over to England on a pheasant shoot. We were both in NATO at the time. And I just remember walking into the Arms, and there were dogs everywhere. And they're all wet and covered with mud. And so what's your dog policy now? Has it changed, or are dogs still welcome to come in?
Dogs are always welcome. We have two of our own
Yeah.
who traveled from America with us.
And what are their names?
This is Jiminy and that one's Sheldon.
All right. Jiminy.
Yeah,
Sorry. I'll lower the volume during
so
that
country
point.
love life. Dogs and everybody is welcome. There isn't anybody or any animal that is not welcome through our doors.
Well, that's great. And you guys pour a great pint, and I really appreciate it. And I think I gave you my card, so
You did.
you guys can
I think
look
you did.
look up the channel and
Yeah.
give me a few weeks, because we're still traveling. We're not getting back to Thailand until the 26th, but then I need editing time because it's not a slow process or fast process.
Right,
So,
right.
but thank you so much, and
thank
I
you.
You're
love
fabulous.
I love it.
You've been great to just have here, adding to the environment.
Thank you so much, and have a great night.
You
Thank
too.
you, you
Thank
too.
you.
All right.